We're just gonna send it. I don't even care. This is how it's going. How do I know if I'm live? Hi, hello, welcome. Welcome to Shootin the Wheeze, y'all. The reboot. It's the remix. This is not how I planned this to go. I was not gonna go live until later. But I wasn't even gonna go live today. I was considering going live tomorrow and seeing how that went. And well, here we are. So, hi, hello. My name is Wheezy Blonde. Shootin the Wheeze is a podcast that I launched at some point last year because I wanted to. And the entire premise of it was basically to have a place where I could sit down, ramble off whatever was on my mind, whatever I wanted to talk about, whatever topic I wanted to talk about. And I didn't have to, count on anybody else. I didn't have to focus on anybody else. It was just me. It was just me because that's the case. Those of you that are rolling in, I see you and you are saying I'm early. So this is not the Raw live stream. Never mind. SmackDown. Later on a SmackDown. We're going to be doing SmackDown later. This is our podcast episode. That is just going so well thus far. I always pre-recorded Shootin the Wheeze in the past, and I posted it later. I was able to edit it. I was able to cut out dead air and stuff like that. And that's not really the plan at the moment. The plan is to just live record and be able to interact with chat. The only thing I couldn't figure out is I asked y'all questions over the course of the last week, and I have them saved for me to read off and answer at some point, but I have them stuck somewhere. I couldn't figure out how to make it so that you could see it on the screen. This is a completely new program to me. I don't normally use this program, so it's a little difficult. So, the entire topic of this episode of Shootin the Wheeze, I wanted to just talk about the last year, my life, what's going on, how I'm doing, what the plans are, talk about some wrestling, talk about all the events that we did this year, and just kind of do a little bit of a recap and what I want to do in the future. Because this year tested my mother effing patience like no other. It tested my patience so badly. There were so many times where I thought I was just going to quit. I was going to be done. But somehow I am still here because I love doing this and I don't want to do anything else and I don't want to walk away from it. But if you noticed, this is season 2, episode 1 of Shootin the Wheeze because I just stopped posting episodes. And it was because I got overwhelmed. I got busy. I was very, very poor at scheduling. And I didn't necessarily know why it was so difficult for me. I found out at the beginning of the year, I was diagnosed with ADHD. I had a feeling that I had it, but it was never an issue because I was always a hairstylist. The last 10 years of my life, I've been a hairstylist. I never had to plan anything. I didn't do my own scheduling. There was always someone that did it for me. I never had to really stick to too much of a schedule because it was one client after the other. And then I got into content creation and realized really quickly, oh shit, like I have to come up with an entire outline. I have to write scripts. I have to do all of these things and I can't do it. And it was really frustrating and I cried a lot. So I went and I got my diagnosis. And then, it's a terrible thing to then realize you can go get diagnosed with this thing that you know is the reason that you were terrible at school and you weren't able to graduate college and you lose things all the time and you don't sleep and all of this stuff. And then it doesn't fix it. You can have someone tell you that you have this thing, but it doesn't fix it. Even when you start taking medication, it doesn't fix it. Because I have to completely up and change my medication, and I just haven't done it yet. So it's a blessing and a curse. It's a blessing and a curse because it can be great, but it's also just a hindrance because you want to be able to do the thing and you can't. You just can't. But I'm doing the best that I can. I'm literally doing the best that I can. Despite that, the main thing about this year is I wanted to do a lot of things that scared me. I wanted to do a lot of stuff that I had never done before and really kind of grow in the space. So that's what I did. That's what I did from the beginning of the year to the very end of the year. And that took me away from streaming and it took me away from creating content the way I wanted to, also because I was out in the field. We started the beginning of 2024. I went to C2E2. I think that was my first convention this year. I went to C2E2. That was where I dressed up as Chelsea Green and I met a few of the wrestlers and got to talk to viewers and just I was in one of the wrestling panels. I wasn't on the panel, but I went and was sat in on it. And then the next week we had Squared Circle Expo, which is a wrestling convention that is down in Indianapolis. And then we had WrestleMania. And it just was this friggin' spiral after that of one thing after another. I went to a lot of WWE shows. I ended up going to SummerSlam. I tried to do as much as I could, but balancing that and also trying to stream and create content and stay on top of everything wasn't easy, literally at all. But I learned from it. Another thing that really knocked me off my axis, sounds like I said asses, but it's axis. Another thing that really knocked me off my axis very early at the start of the year was I, for a brief moment, thought that I was going to get to go to WrestleMania. I had gotten reached out to by C4 and they wanted me to, was that WrestleMania? No, it was WrestleMania. They reached out to me and they wanted me to come and host one of the C4 meet and greets where you get in line with two superstars. They wanted me to come be the MC. So I would get to ask questions to the talent. I would get to hype up the crowd. And that's what I really want to do. I want to get on the microphone more. I want to be out in spaces and host events. It's something I really want to do. So I was all hyped up for it. I had help arranging it and we agreed on a price and we agreed on compensation and all that stuff. So I thought I was going to get to go. And then I got ghosted. I reached out. I never heard back. I didn't get to go. I was rearranging my entire schedule to make it so that I could fly out for WrestleMania in Philly. And then it didn't happen. It didn't happen. And then the morning of WrestleMania, I'm getting ready for stream. It was night one. I was dressing up as Chelsea. I cosplayed as Chelsea Green again for WrestleMania. And I see another streamer so I left out a part. I got ghosted. But it had turned out the last correspondence I had with them was that the event was getting canceled because of WWE World. So because they were doing, basically WWE was doing their own convention in WWE World where they were doing meet and greets and everything convention style, they didn't need C4 to do that event. That was how I took it. So the event got pushed back at first and then it got canceled. When it got canceled, they were willing to do a stream sponsorship with me where I was still, gonna get paid and whatever, what have you, but I would just have the sponsorship and everything on my stream. So, okay, backtrack again. The morning of WrestleMania, I'm getting ready. I'm going right down to the wire and I see somebody else on the Twitch page that I know that had the everything to a T of what I was supposed to do. They had the banner, they had everything. And I was like, oh shit, like the sponsorship got like ripped out from under me and someone else is doing it. And I was genuinely so upset because it was like, oh, of course, like they saw someone else, they liked them better. And then they just decided not to even like keep contact with me. And that hurt my feelings. It hurt my feelings. So yeah, I started stream and tried to put on a brave face and go through with stream, even though I was super upset. And that for weeks made me question, okay, am I really cut out for this? Should I be doing this? What am I doing? What the hell am I doing? And I feel almost like for the rest of the year, I have been stuck in that area of, okay, what is it that I'm doing? What am I excelling at? What am I good at? What works? What doesn't work? What exactly is my strength? What am I doing here? Essentially, what am I doing here? Outside of watching reaction content or watching reaction content, making reaction content, watching the shows, making the content. It was getting to a point where I felt like that was all I was worth and that I had no actual talent. And that hurt even more because going back to having ADHD, there's this one quote that I've been saying for months now of if you, oh God, I can't even think of the quote. If you're, the jack of all trades is a master of none. And I'd never heard the end of that quote, but it was, the jack of all trades is a master of none. And that's been me my entire life. I've jumped from thing to hobby to thing. And I've never stuck with one thing long enough to excel at it because it's too hard or I'm not able to focus on it or something else distracts me. And that's what I want to focus on. And this was the first time in my life that's not what I wanted to do. I didn't want to give up on this. It was always what I wanted. I always wanted to be a YouTuber. I always wanted to be a streamer. And then it also, but so it's a truth. So I can read the comments as I'm sitting here, and it's I try not to as I'm recording a podcast episode, but it was the whole reason I did it. So someone said it's a true saying. The rest of that saying, it's a jack of all trades is a master of none, but oftentimes better than the master of one. Someone threw it in there as I was finishing it. I pulled that out of my memory. Look at me. I'm getting better with my memory. And I'd been repeating that to myself for the last few weeks until yesterday I heard the end of that quote because I really was like, okay, what am I doing? What am I doing? I rearranged my whole life. To do this. I went from making decent money working full-time at the salon to cutting back at that and just kind of hoping for the best doing this. And I felt like I was in a good place beginning of November because my schedule finally changed. And it was like, oh, great. I'm going to have time. I'm going to have time to record all these things and I'm going to get a schedule down. And then I got sick. And then I got sicker. And then it just was a downhill spiral for a month and a half of me being not only sick, but just not feeling good, not sleeping, not drinking enough water, not eating enough. And a lot of it really was comparison, but just not feeling like this is, wondering if I'm doing the right thing. And not only that, but once you have to get used to it. It's the name of the game. You have to get used to the internet and what the internet says to you. But the internet, when you interact with it, can really wear you down in so many different ways. And a lot of the time it's not even people criticizing or making fun of my appearance. I feel like that doesn't necessarily get to me. What really does is people questioning my work ethic, questioning why are you not doing this like so-and-so? Why don't you do this? It's always just kind of like demanding. And all people are doing is wanting from you and taking. And you just get to this point where you're like, well, fuck it all then, because it's like, it feels like it's never enough. And I just don't see anybody ever talking about that. So I wondered if it was just me. Is this just me? Am I the only one that's experiencing this, that is feeling this way? Should I not be as open as I'm being? Am I telling people too much? And then I kind of realized I'm thinking about it too much. I'm thinking about it too much. Is anyone else really thinking about it that much? Apparently not. But I was being really, really, really hard on myself. Really, really hard on myself. So I think that's kind of the gist of my 2024. I think that's just the gist of my 2024 because I'm so grateful to be given this opportunity and to have had the opportunities that I've been given. And not only that, the other biggest stressor was a lot of unknown. I'd been given hope for an opportunity that I really, really wanted, but I didn't exactly know what that opportunity was. And then it was me for the entire year getting the runaround of wondering, is this going to come to fruition? Is this going to become anything? And I didn't really know. And I still don't. I got to do a couple really cool things, but there's just, you feel like you're constantly just in questioning. And I wish I could speak to that more, but it really messes with your psyche. I can liken it to being in a toxic relationship and just really wanting the positive affirmations and the goodness from whoever it is that you're with. And you only get it every once in a while, but you crave it. So you put up with all of the silent treatment and the nothing and the shit because you just want that one moment of goodness. And then you get it and it's dopamine hit and you feel so good and you're like, never mind, everything that I'm doing is worth it. Giving up my sanity is worth it. Losing sleep is worth it. And then you're right back in the depression stage for another 3 months. And it's just this never ending cycle all year. So I just feel like I got ran over by a bus. But it's the name of the game. It's the name of the game. You're ever evolving. That's the thing about doing this is I think at the moment that you feel that you have it all figured out, you have to change everything. And I never wanted to just be somebody else. I never wanted to start this platform. That's what I hated is I felt like so many people were hopping in my comment sections and being like, why don't you try this just like so-and-so? And I was like, well, if I wanted to be so-and-so, I'd just be copying every damn fucking thing that they do. And that's not just one person. It's multiple different people because you have favorite creators that you like to watch. You have favorite channels and podcasts that you like to listen to. And that's totally valid. But why would you ask of somebody to do the same thing that someone else already does? It's just, it doesn't make any sense to me. It doesn't make any sense to me. So with the start of 2025, a lot of people talk shit about New Year's resolutions. Like, oh, New Year's resolutions are ass. Like, they're so stupid. It's so stupid. And I think that's so silly. I think it's so silly to knock on someone for having I think a fresh start is so poetic and it's so beautiful. It's so beautiful, right? You get to just start fresh and have new goals and then try to pursue them for the entirety of 365 days. Is it a leap year? It might be less than that. I don't remember. Is it a leap year? Was last year a leap year? Not sure. Anyways. Anyways. So I'm reading someone saying it's okay to do the same thing though, isn't it? Yeah, I mean, sure. If that's what you want to do. But to me personally, without making it your own, it just feels like a ripoff. There is such a thing. Everything is inspired by something else. Everything is necessarily an inspiration. But some of us don't want to just sit down, rinse and repeat the exact same thing that somebody else is doing. I personally don't consume a lot of content for that reason. One, there's not enough time. Like, there just simply isn't enough time to listen to every single podcast and watch every single YouTube video that there is. It's just not possible at all. Oh, last year was the leap year? Oh, okay, good, cool. Great. One thing I'm noticing as I was hoping that like I'd be able to get to see super chats and stuff, but I'm not seeing that pop up. So yeah, Another thing I know that you guys are really used to me reading the comments, and I can't make it into I'll be here forever if I just read all of them. I'll kind of, when we get to a certain point, I will incorporate a lot of them, and then I'll read some of the questions that I have saved previously. But yeah, so that's where we're going. So 2025, I don't think I met any of the goals that I wanted to last year. And I fucked up and I made specific ones. And I don't know that I should have done that because I have it written here. I literally have it written down right here. I have 100,000 followers on YouTube. I think I got about, I don't even know what my growth was. Maybe I got 30,000. It's hard. YouTube's hard. YouTube is very critical. YouTube is mean. The YouTube comments are really mean on YouTube videos. They're very critical, and you have to create at a very high level in order to grow on it. And I just didn't commit to it the way that I wanted to. It was so much harder than I thought it would be. And I also tried to go the majority of the year not asking for help or finding the help. And I finally did hire an editor, and even that I'm finding it is difficult trying to create the schedule of recording, sending. It's just, it's so much. It's so much. The ADHD has never hindered me as much as it has trying to do this. And I completely get now why I have given up every single thing that I've ever tried, because it's just too much. I sound like such a little bitch. I'm not a punk bitch, but I sound like such a little bitch feeling that way. I definitely do. So for 2025, I still have the 100,000 followers on YouTube, but I want to get away from focusing on follower count. I want to get away from focusing on follower count because, and I've felt that way for a while. You'll know, if you've noticed with me, I don't really screenshot every time I hit a follower count. I don't really screenshot anytime I hit any of those milestones too much. I try to keep it to a minimum just because in the broad scheme of things, it doesn't mean a whole lot, especially as the content creator space grows and as the view of fame changes. In the broad scheme, anyone can hit the follow button. Anybody can hit that follow button. Does it mean something to brands? Sometimes. But for the most part, it's engagement, it's the viewership, it's the connections, it's being at peace with what you're creating and what you're doing. And for me, the biggest satisfaction is not the follower count, it's the praise and the engagement with what it is I'm creating. So whether that be a video that I make, whether that be a photo that I do, a drawing, a cosplay, a podcast, something like that, that is what I prefer. And it happens, but I try not to focus on the follow count. And I've seen a lot of people really get caught up in it, get really, really, really caught up in it. I just see something I really want to read. Someone said, so many times I see viewers and it's the hybrid era fan. Hi, over on Twitch. So many times I see viewers and others chats being like, do this like Kai Cenat, do this like Speed. And it feels like those viewers just want to see the big streamers in every single streamer they watch. That's absolutely true. That's absolutely true. And that's where it comes, and that's when it comes down to you berating yourself and feeling like you're not worthy, because people are always wanting you to be somebody other than who you are. And you just have to have the people find you that like you. Kai Cenat was always Kai. Kai was Kai, Speed was Speed. Let them be them. And that's not everybody has to be for you. You don't have to like every podcaster. You don't have to like every streamer. It's okay. If they're not doing what you want them to do, then don't watch them. It's simple as that. And that's either going to work out for them or it's not. I've seen a lot of people that have tried to rebrand, doing everything that everyone around them is doing to a T. The content, the videos, the lists, everything. The sub goals, the events, the shit like that. And even though they're doing exactly what the other people are doing, they'll get the viewership higher up for a while and then it falls off. And I think the reason for that is because these people are watching. People stay for what you're doing. Okay, they want to see your list, they want to see this. But you also have to be a human being when it comes to streaming. You're interacting with people, you're talking to people. And if people don't like what you have to say, they're not going to keep tuning in. And I've seen that in so many. You've seen someone have 70 to 200 viewers a stream and then drop down to, 30 to 10 and keep their core viewership. The copy, rinse, repeat just doesn't work. It doesn't work. You have to be an individual in some shape or form. You have to. And that applies to so many things. It applies to so many things. Look at segue. Look at how WWE has evolved. And now, with them going to Netflix, but look at how they've evolved with the way that they allow the talent to interact with social media, the way that they create reels. They are trying to make what the people like to consume. So there's a lot of that. It's a give and take. You can't just go out and just do all that you want to do, but you have to, whatever the people are asking of you, you need to make your own. It's exhausting. It's exhausting. I think I get a little frustrated when I get a lot of questions of people asking, hey, how do you become a content creator? How do you do this? How do I make the reaction clips like you? And the first thing I always say is, all right, well, what do you want to do it for? Why do you want to be a streamer? What is it about being a streamer that you like? Why? What makes you want to post the things that you're reacting to? And if your answer is, I just want a following, it ain't gonna work. It ain't gonna work. Your heart's not in it. No one gets into this and is successful at it right off the bat just by wanting to have the following. Like you gotta like people, and you gotta have thick skin too. You gotta have thick skin. You can't react to every negative thing that's said about you. It's tough. It's not for everybody. It's really not for everybody, especially when you're dealing with all that kind of bullshit. And depending on who you are, then having to go and work your 9 to 5 or your 7 to 7, or like me, you're 9 to 8, you're 10 to 8, you're 10 to 9, 9 to 9. You got kids to feed, you got a family, you got stuff you got to go do. So on top of not being able to put your focus on everything at one time, it just keeps piling up. David Thiering over on YouTube, thank you for that super chat, bud. He says, hey, Wheezy, liked listening to your interview with Tom Grossi over on Chaotic Good Sports. Keep being you and do what you love in 2025. Thank you so much, David. I appreciate that. I really enjoyed my talk with Tom. Tom was one of my favorite interviewers ever. And that's honestly a good point to bring up. Is I get asked a lot, and I see a lot of content creators saying, I need the support, no one supports me, or they want bigger creators to be supporting them by watching their stuff, or not necessarily just watching their stuff, but collaborating with them, doing videos with them, in some shape or form. And it's just not possible to do it with everybody. And it's also impossible to vet every show that people are asking me to be on. I barely have or make time to create. Obviously, clearly, you guys know me. If you're not new here, majority of you know I am a hot fucking mess. I am the real life embodiment of Chelsea Green. I am a hot mess. I am so inconsistent. I am someone posted a meme on Twitter earlier, and they said, because someone posted Roman Reigns returning, that was me, but then underneath there they put Veer Mahan, Veer is coming. I am Veer. For 4 weeks at a time, I will say I'm gonna do this, and then do I fucking do it? No, I do it a month later. That is me. It's so hard. And you guys are still here, and I really appreciate that, because man, I try so freaking hard. It is hot mess express around here. Hot mess express. Oh, I hate it. And it's also with collaborating with others. It has to be a value, and you can't just collaborate with anybody, because you also don't know people. So you could collaborate with someone and then it come out a few weeks later that they did something awful, or they're an awful person. And I implore you, if you are someone that's trying to get into content, when it comes to talking wrestling on a podcast or like talking to other people or interviewing people, try your best not to make it the cookie cutter. I'm just going to ask this question and it's going to, work out. You've got to add that individuality. You've got to add spice to it. The first thing you need to think about is, why would somebody want to watch this? Why would somebody want to watch this? And that's kind of like me going into this today. Why would someone want to watch this? Well, I have a good cadence. I have a good thing. I'm a fucking mess. And you know what? I think everybody is an overwhelmed mess in 2025. So that's when I decide that I'm going to record something like this. It lets other people know, one, they're not alone, but two, if there's anyone else that is a content creator that also works a full-time job and has a life and a family and is struggling with it, if they're not going to be the ones to talk about it and they feel alone, but they're suffering in silence, hey, I'm fucking struggling. But I'm doing better. And that's how you learn. But it can get really, really lonely when you see other people succeeding and it seems like they're doing really well. And the audience is really loving what they're doing. And then they come to your page and they're like, hey, why don't you do this? And then you're like, oh shit, what am I doing? Why am I here? So it's relatable. Relatability in 2025, I think, is going to be huge. We're not going to have so much of the prim and polished, there's an influencer voice now. Have you heard the influencer voice? Where you get on TikTok and you see someone explaining something or talking about something or telling a story, and they have a specific way that they talk. It's a specific tone. It's a specific dialect. And so many of them do it. That's not going to fly. Sitting, like, being right here and being like, today on WWE SmackDown, this is happening and this is blah, 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 and then like having a broadcaster voice. Be a broadcaster. If you want to be a streamer, you just got to be you. And that's hard. It's really, really, a lot of people lose themselves in front of the lens of a camera. You turn off my stream. You don't want me to talk like this. Hi, hello, my name is Wheezy Blonde. We're here to watch WWE SmackDown. You guys wouldn't like that? Oh, and that's not even the voice I'm talking about. That's very YouTube. I think that is very much like a YouTube voice. It's a very YouTube voice. I'm trying to think if I can do the influencer voice. Hey guys, I just wanted to come on here really quick and talk about this story that I heard the other day about, and then it just, oh my God, stop. You guys, I'm not even joking. This is the best version of Roman Reigns we have ever seen in 2025. Like, I can't do it. I scroll immediately. I think this is probably the most takes or opinions I've probably ever given you in my entire life. I'm looking at my, this is my first, this was on the fly. I was planning on recording this tomorrow, and I actually didn't know if I wanted to do it live. It's going pretty good. I think we're doing okay. I'm looking at my outline that I completely veered from, because what's following a plan? I wing everything. I literally wing everything. But I have something written down. I made an entire section about the struggles of streaming. Okay. And I put one that's really good to talk about is the off season and the on season. The viewership is so different around WrestleMania time versus you get to the end of the year towards football season. You're fighting for attention at that point. You're fighting for attention. So around WrestleMania season, you can have 300 plus people watching and getting new people in. And then football season comes around and you lose their attention. Not everybody watches every week. There's very few of us that really do. Some people tune in every now and then, depending on what's going on. I realized that when I went to Detroit this last weekend and I was watching the show, and I was up in a Hollywood Greektown casino, shout out, put me up in a suite with like 10, 15 other people. And I was listening, and we had people up there that were fans. We had someone that was a collector, and then there were a bunch of lucha guys that were there, and some like local Detroit talent too. And I watch weekly, you know, I watch weekly, and these dudes did not know what the fuck was going on. They had no idea. They don't watch the product. They don't watch the product. They were asking all kinds of questions that I was like, oh shit, you really haven't watched in a while. Okay. So you have to remember that not everyone sits down and watch. It's 3 hours altogether of WWE television. You figure we're going into having 3 hours Monday, 3 hours Friday, and then we're gonna have 2 hours Tuesday. Math, 6, 7, 8, 8 hours a week. That's hard. That's hard. And giving up your evening to do it, it's a difficult thing to do. So if you do, hats off to you, real ones. But not only the off season, it is a whole nother workday, right? The on season, off season thing leads right into me personally feeling like Twitch viewership is tapped out. This is more so on Twitch. I think YouTube or anywhere else, maybe there's still room for growth. But as far as Twitch viewership goes for wrestling content or mainly wrestling watch-alongs, like wrestling reactions, I personally feel that everybody has found the places that they want to be, and that's where they stay. Because you have the person that you like watching. And there's enough of us now, we've been doing it for a while, and I noticed the consistency and who stays where they are. And I think the time for growth of that watch along on Twitch is done. I really do. So that is stressful from the standpoint of, okay, well now what? I still want to stream, but I get frustrated when people think that streaming is the only thing that I do. I want to do more. I'm a creative dog. Like, I want to make YouTube videos. I want to do other stuff. I want to travel. I want to make content. And being stuck in the box of, oh, you're just the watch along streamer. It's like, but that's not all I want to be, you know? That's not all I want to be. And I don't want to be in it. And see, I want to point out, someone did exactly like what I was talking about. Someone said, interviews like CVV ? We immediately have to go into do this like someone else. That's always what it is. It's like, do this thing like this person. It's like, well, wait, no. Listen, I love Chris. Chris is a pioneer in the space. He's a very, very good interviewer. I can learn how to interview, but that man is polished. I struggle not to say fuck every 10 minutes. I'm posting reaction clips on Instagram saying, throwing the fucking F-bomb around. I just did it again. You know, I'm mess. Chris is polished, poised, polished. I'm mess. I'm Midwest trash. I am trash. My backstage content was awesome. Tell WWE. Send them a fucking email. That's where I'm at with that. But so as your editor, I'm reading a comment. Mike from Indeed, this is my editor. He said, as your editor, I just want to say that you are so much more than a watch along streamer, and it's incredibly fulfilling as a creative to work on your content. Thank you. I've tried so hard. YouTube is a bitch, man. It is a bitch. Fucking insane. But then finding the time to not only stream the amount of time that I do, then you get people that ask you for more. So again, more and more. That's a Britney song, right? Give me more. Give me more. Give me. Sorry. Feels like the crowd is saying. Would it be me if I didn't sing at least once? But people are like, well, do gaming streams, do this kind of stream, do this watch along. And it's like, when would I have time? If I want to be able to make videos and make other content and then also stream, what do we do? You know, what do we do? And what's the payoff of that? That's the thing about streams too, is you can sit here and do a stream for 4 hours at a time, make $20. How many people are going to see it? Especially when you're just doing Twitch. It's got to be the time commitment versus the payoff of that time commitment. And see, so someone did it again. Now I can't point out everyone, because now I'm going to start a trend of everyone's like, oh, if I say this, she's going to read it out loud. I'm not. This is the last one I'm going to read, but it says, be similar to Denise Salcedo. That one really hurt my feelings because I had a lot of people doing that in some of my more recent videos. And I don't want to be Denise Salcedo. Denise is Denise, and Denise is great at what Denise does. I am not Denise, and I don't want to be Denise. I don't want to do what Denise does. It's not my style. It's not my vibe. I think we're two very completely different personalities, and that's okay. Like, that's okay. But just because I'm a girl doesn't mean you have to automatically be like Denise. Like, just because we share the same parts doesn't mean that I have to do the same fucking thing. Like, we can all do our own things. It's just, it's the mentality of not being in it. I guess, if you're in it, you get it. The girls that get it, and the ones that don't. It's just the name of the game. It's how it goes. And I'm getting better at, and that's the thing is, there's another interviewer in here right now. His name is Justin, the Wrestling Classic. You should go follow the Wrestling Classic. He's wonderful. He's been very nice to me. And I probably get asked to be the same person that you do. And it's like, oh, but I don't want to be. I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that at all. Where are my questions? I just went through my question list really quick. So we're at a point now. If you super chat in the YouTube chat, I will read your question or comment if it is appropriate. If it's not, I'm just going to roast you. And then I have a whole folder of questions. Oh, I put it on the desktop literally so that I could find it easily. See, this is why we're doing a test run. Well, that's why we're doing a test run, so that I can get better at this. And I wanted to be able to have it on screen so that you could see it, but I couldn't figure that out with using this particular. Your question did not make the cut, Mike. It did not. Okay. So maybe in editing, I can add this in because I believe you can, even in the YouTube studio. Okay. I also don't have any mods in here, so if you're reading things that you don't like, I'm really sorry. I'm doing the best I can. Okay. Jeremy Michaels, Germ for Life, asked, who was your most underrated WWE superstar in 2024? The most underrated superstar. I normally am really bad at answering these kinds of questions, but I at least had a little bit of a heads up. And so I was trying to go off of in my mind who that is. And I do feel like it was Finn Balor. As much as on stream where I'll be like, I hate Finn Balor. It's one of those things. It's one of those things where his character, I can't help but hate him because he's been that good. Finn Balor has been a ball of emotion, right? Where you're having to read what's going on with him. He's clearly not been happy from the very beginning. He's a jealous little shit, right? He's a jealous little shit. And you've seen it in the way that he interacts and the things that he says, but also has been active in almost every show, whether he's wrestling or not. So that's why I'm saying he's underrated, because he's so good at what he does. He carries everything and he blends in with it and he makes it better. So, I got a super chat. Paul David Elliott, thank you so much for being a member. He says, hey, Wheezy, big game Sunday night. Will Dan Campbell sit his starters? No, why would he sit his starters? Why would he do that? All right. Can I ban people from... Yeah, there we go. Perfect. Look at that. Don't even need a mod. Who needs mods? Can I not play? Where's the next question? There it is. Okay, question number 2. Tiger Backwood at Tiger_Backwood asks, do you think John Cena will break the title record during his farewell tour? I do. Just because there's a whole year of things that he can do. I think he not only will win a title or two and break the record, I think that he will put a lot of people over in the process. And that's the nice thing, is that we don't really know what's going to happen. We don't know what's going to happen. I think one of my boldest predictions, I don't think I've said this anywhere because I just thought of it earlier. I think one of my boldest, and I don't make predictions, so you're getting stuff you don't normally get. One of my biggest ones is that at some point in 2025, Cope, Edge is going to come back to the WWE and we're going to get John Cena Edge for old. I just have this feeling. I can't let it go. I can't fight this feeling anymore. I just feel like that is a huge possibility. And if it doesn't, I'm not one of those people that's going to sit here and be like, oh, it's 100% not. It might not, but maybe it would. I think it'd be pretty cool. Emily Saxton, it's Emily Saxton, asked, will you do the Skull chant if the Vikings defeat the Lions this weekend? And she chants Skull. No, I will not. I will not cheer Skull for the Vikings if they win. I will not cry like a little crybaby if they lose, because I am an adult and I support my team and I love my team. And even if we lose to the Vikings and we lose the division and we lose the number 1 seed, that's okay, because the playoffs are where it's going to matter. And hold on to your asses, because just wait. I don't know how to say this. At NGBXTA asks, if you could resurrect one wrestler from any era to plug into today's product, who would it be? Eddie Guerrero. Eddie Guerrero, that's the first one that comes to mind. It's the first one that I think would mesh in the best. He inspired and helped so many of those that are there already just by being who he was, that I think he would be having a blast with today's roster and the way that they do things. I think he would absolutely kill it. So easy answer for me, Eddie Guerrero. Blake Taylor at Blake Taylor 83 asks, what's the best match you've ever seen live? Oh, shoot. There's a lot, because I went to the last 2 SummerSlams, and this past SummerSlam, oh my gosh, I liked all of them, and they're probably not conventional answers either. I really liked Gunther and Braun Breaker. I really did. I liked Drew McIntyre and Seth Rollins. Oh, I didn't see that live. My dumbass. I'm going with like matches in general. Holy shit. Cody Rhodes and Brock Lesnar at SummerSlam Detroit, I think, is an underrated one because of the way that the match went and the pace of it and what they did. That was probably the one that captured my attention the most. I'm trying to think of, like, on a Raw or a SmackDown, what my favorites were. And I can't, like, off the top of my head, I can't really come up with any, but I know that I've seen so many. Manny at MannyV574 asks, would you ever work for the WWE? If so, what would your occupation be and why? I would work for the WWE. I don't really know. I don't really know. A lot of the times I have no credentials that should make it so that I can work there in any capacity. But I would love to be a ring announcer. I would love to be a ring announcer. I love to sing too. So I feel like those two things just kind of go hand in hand. But I also would love to, if I could learn a little bit more about cameras, I would love to work on like their digital team and be able to like take my camera around and just film the show from their perspective and like be backstage and film, and ask, like, just do all that kind of stuff. I would really like. I don't want to be a wrestler. That ship has sailed for me. I don't think I can really do that. But yeah, that's probably where I'm at. I really, we'll talk about this later. I just see a lot of people bringing it up right now. I see a lot of people talking about Edge's name being Cope or Adam Copeland's name being Cope. I could give 2 flying fucks what his name is right now. Everyone is like, it's such a dumb name. I don't care. I really don't feel like it's that big of a deal. So what? Okay, he's not Adam Copeland anymore. He's Cope. I feel like that makes sense. Have you guys not ever called anyone by their last name or come up with a name of someone by their last name just because he's not Edge anymore? I don't know. I feel like it's such a weird gripe. I feel like it's such a really strange gripe to be bitching about. Anyway, Brooke asks at Brooke BRR. She said, how is Wheezy different from the person you are in daily life? Wheezy is a lot more confident when she's Wheezy, because Wheezy gets to be around people that like the thing that she likes and understand her. The person I am in daily life, I'm surrounded by people that don't understand me. I am a weirdo. I don't have anything to talk about with anybody because I don't watch the news. I don't have a lot of interests outside of what it is I do. And there aren't a lot of people that do what I do or watch what I watch. I'm a girl that works in a hair salon that doesn't really care about beauty. It's just knowledge that I have because I've been a hairdresser for 10 years. I like football. I watch professional wrestling. I love streaming and the internet and photography and videography. And then I go out into the world and no one around me likes those things. No one around me likes those things. I noticed that at New Year's Eve this past week. I have nothing to talk about with anybody. And I don't like to talk at people. I'm not the kind of person that's going to sit down and tell you about all these things that I did because people don't care. People don't care. I'm not going to go up to somebody like, hey, I got to go to Monday Night Raw and go backstage and interview these 10 people and do this really cool thing and blah, 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 blah. People don't care. They don't care, especially when they don't understand. They have no concept, especially because they don't care. They have no concept of what it means to get to go do something like that. It means absolutely jack shit to them. So I keep a lot of that to myself. I think a lot of people in my real life would probably say that I'm quiet because I don't speak unless which is hilarious, right? I'm a yapper. I'm a certified yapper, but I'm a certified yapper if I'm comfortable in the space that I'm yapping in. If I don't trust someone, I'm not going to be talkative and I'm not going to tell them anything about me. So, yeah, I don't talk just to talk. I don't want to just talk at people and I don't want to be judged and I don't want someone I've had my own clients be like, "How's your little podcast going?" And I'm like, "Pretty good, Cheryl. Thanks for asking." Jedi at Brian V326 asked, "Are you gonna play WWE 2K24?" I have played 2K24 before, but that just kind of goes back to the answer. The reason I picked this was just because it gives me a chance to explain that I don't have time. I just don't have time to fit all the things in that I would like to. I don't remember the last time I played video games besides that one demo that we did. It's hard to fit into the schedule, but there's always a chance for 2025. Okay, we're switching over to some Instagram questions here. It's underscore lane 13 asks, what did you want to be as a kid when you grew up? I never knew. So I think that comes along with having ADHD as well, is that my interests changed so quickly and drastically that I never latched onto a particular hobby or something that I liked. I at one point thought that I wanted to be an artist, and then I thought I wanted to be a therapist and a dermatologist and a nutritionist and a physical therapist and a theater major. Like I bounced around so much. But when I was a little kid, I don't remember having aspirations to be really anything. Not when I was really little. I wasn't thinking about adult life or a job. I was busy wanting to be a Power Ranger because I thought that was a possibility. I was busy wanting to be the fourth member of Team Extreme, pretending that I was a professional wrestler and was tag teaming with Lita. I was a dreamer. So I never was like, I'm going to be a nurse or I'm going to be a teacher. It's not something I ever did. I never thought about it. I think it's a big reason I also don't have kids or never thought about being a mom because I never envisioned that for myself. I never pretended to have a baby doll. I never did any of that. I'm surprised I got married, you know? Pluggo underscore B2B asks, if I don't know was the slogan of 2024, what is the slogan for 2025? That's a really good question. I say I don't know to basically anything because I don't know. I don't like to make a lot of predictions. I don't like being asked who's going to win this, who's going to win that, because I don't fucking know. I say it a lot if you're new to my streams. But for 2025, I hate that my answer is I don't know. What's my slogan going to be for 2025? To tell other people, not sure. But for me, stay the course. Fuck it. Fuck it's a good one. Someone doesn't like what I'm doing? Fuck it. Someone doesn't like this? Fuck it. I didn't do this in time? Fuck it. Like, I need to just be a little more forgiving to myself, I would say. Edward Andrew Peacock asked, is January 6th going to be one of the most important dates in modern WWE history? Yeah, absolutely. It's the turning of a page. It's a completely new era. It's a thing that it is. It really is going to be monumental. It's something that we're going to look back on in 20 years and be like, this was this moment that this changed. And I think they might have a lot more stuff up their sleeve than even we realize. Yeah, only Livy once asked, what do you think will be the next thing you do if you ever stop streaming? Don't know. I live my life a quarter mile at a time. Oh yeah, I do one thing at a time. I don't think 5 years in the future, other than because if I do, I freak myself out. That's why I haven't stopped doing hair. Right? I could just go back to doing hair, but I also am dabbling in possibly doing photography, maybe working in media in some form. I just don't know how. I just don't know how. Boily94 asked, what is the most fulfilling and frustrating things in creating content? I kind of talked about that earlier. The most fulfilling is just finding like-minded people and creating something that other people like and can resonate with. The most frustrating things is being hard on yourself, criticizing yourself, something not going the way that you planned or the way that you wanted, falling behind, comparison. That's all I gotta say about that. And then Crimson asked, how has content creation for you changed over the last year? I went from just doing it for fun to doing it because I felt like I had more to offer and that I had more to give than just doing it for fun. That there was a place for me somewhere that I could make a career out of this, at least for a little while. And so I tried to buckle down and be a little more serious about it. The heel Mark, thank you for that $2 super chat over on YouTube. Can I get a shout out for my birthday? Woo woo. Happy birthday, Mark. I hope you have a good one. Prince Petty asked, what's the match that got you hooked on wrestling? There isn't one. There isn't one. My fandom in professional wrestling didn't stem from a particular match. It was just the show in general. I was so young when I started watching. I was 6 or 7. You guys, I barely remember what happened at WrestleMania this year, let alone what happened when I was 6 years old. So there isn't one particular match that was the reason I stuck with it or kept watching professional wrestling. It was just the entire package of it being unlike anything you'd ever seen. The action, the storylines, I'm a theater kid. It just resonated with me. So that's why. Muzanar MZ asked, if you were given the ability to work with WWE, what would you want it to be? I already answered something like that. Don't know why I clipped it twice. It wasn't the same person, though, I promise. Philly Cervantes 44 asked, if the Lions make the Super Bowl, will you live stream it? No. I'm getting asked a lot lately if I'm live streaming games, and I'm not totally sure why, because I haven't live streamed a single game this year. But of all games, if the Lions were to win the Super Bowl, I would absolutely not live stream it. I am taking my happy ass to Detroit or trying to go to the Super Bowl and watching the fucking Super Bowl in my city or wherever it's at. I think it's in New Orleans. Yeah, no. I'm going to go have drinks and eat pizza and watch that fucking show. And that's not that I don't hate streaming. I obviously love streaming, but it's not it to watch something like that I love in here by myself. Like I'm not going to do that. I kind of already answered that. King Hunter 21, who do you think is going to be on the front cover of 2K25? The first person that comes to mind for me is Drew McIntyre. That is the first person that comes to mind. But I could also see Damian Priest. I could see Gunther. And I could see CM Punk. But I could see CM Punk or John Cena, even though I think Punk been on a cover? I know Cena has. But Drew, Gunther, Damian, that's where I'm leaning. I don't know if they'll do like They did women last year. Maybe they'll do two guys. I don't know. Anything's possible. They could do a John Cena one and then they could do a Drew one. They could do a Punk one and they could do a Drew one. Hard to say. They could do a flashback of ones that they've already done. Who knows? The real Jonathan Tyler asks, you are able to pick one match to show someone. What is it? The Jackass match. What is that? Mania 38? I tell everybody this. WrestleMania 38. I think that's right. The Jackass match. Well, I forget what the actual name of the match was, but with Sami Zayn, that fucking match. Even if somebody, if you have anybody that has just recently got Netflix and they're considering starting to watch Monday Night Raw as something to do, and you want to show them a match, you show them that one. You show them that one because Zayn Knoxville. Yes, you want to show them that one because they know who Johnny Knoxville is, right? And they know most everyone, especially our age, they know who those guys are. And the best thing about it is they're not wrestlers. Those are just the dudes from MTV that did Jackass. And they put on a banger of a match. It's so entertaining. You don't even need to know. You don't need to know any storyline. You don't need to know any chemistry. You don't need to know any background to that match in order to enjoy it. So that's always the one that I tell people. And I see a lot of people showing, like, you show Undertaker HBK at Mania 25. The reason, now things like that can work, but those mean so much more to people that know wrestling because of how they're the greats, they're the greats. This one, you don't run the risk of somebody patronizing them or being condescending to them because they don't know, oh, these are the great, they're trying to watch the match and you're over here like, oh, that's this. So Shawn Michaels, this and this and this and this, or Kurt Angle, this and this and this. And you're trying to explain to them, all of this stuff about them. Sami Zayn and Johnny Knoxville, you ain't got to say nothing. You ain't got to say, just let them do their thing. Anyway. I could go on for a while about that one. I want to watch that later and do a reaction for Patreon, I think. Alan Knight 1992 asks, what convinced you to go all in on your content creation? Getting opportunities with specific people and companies and just feeling like I had something I wanted to capitalize on and then I'm good at it. That was really it. And even then, I still didn't even go all in. I still work. I still work at the salon 2 days a week and I really struggle doing it, but I'm not in a position that I feel comfortable quitting my job and doing this full time, just full transparency. I just don't. Emos86 asks, what's your opinion on professional wrestlers breaking kayfabe? I don't really care. I don't really care too much because I think it also depends on what context you're asking. Like, okay, what's my opinion on professional wrestlers breaking kayfabe? Are you talking about them, breaking character in the middle of the ring and laughing? Are you talking about them having their regular persona out in interviews or out in public versus them being on screen? Because it's 2025 now, and we obviously are wise to what's happening. This isn't the 80s. I think we all understand the differences well enough that it's almost been a part of the way that professional wrestling has evolved to where it's more accepted to do that. And I think any one of them that does it fairly well. And they don't do it in a way, like even in some of Dominic Mysterio's things that he's done and interviews that he's done and said, he's definitely dropping a lot of that and able to talk as himself, but he weaves it back in a really nice way. So I don't think that anyone is out there blatantly being weird about it. They still weave it back in. It's just a lot more lax. They're able to be a lot more lax. Elijah Waltman, thoughts on Netflix? Excited or nervous with the past streaming issues? I'm not nervous at all. I'm excited for it. They rarely have, I just don't feel like it's that big of a deal. Yeah, it buffered during Paul and Tyson. Okay, cool. There was 150 million people watching. If it buffers, it buffers. You're able to watch a whole bunch of stuff on there. Football really wasn't that big of a deal. If football wasn't a problem, I don't think wrestling is going to be a problem. Matthew Tomlinson, 1984 asked, what's my favorite PLE of 2024? Oh, shit. Oh, God. I am going to say WrestleMania Night 2. WrestleMania night too. It's hard because I actually really did like SummerSlam. I was there. I also really liked what was the one in France? Was that Backlash? So many of them. I did interview Dirty Dom recently. Thank you for asking. I just want to slide that in there. Yes, I did. Oh, those are all my questions. We made it. We did it. We did it. We did it. Hooray! In just over an hour. Woohoo! Okay. So, yeah, we made it through that. I learned from that. If doing this live is something that you enjoy, or if you would prefer me to pre-record, I kind of like doing it live just because that's what I'm really comfortable with when it comes to this kind of thing. I always say this, but I promise I promise I have plans. These are all the videos that I have planned to record and are going to record and do things with. And I have stuff planned for the Patreon. I have a whole bunch of vlog stuff that I actually need to edit, which is what I'm going to do now. I'm going to save recording for, I think, this weekend or the beginning of next week. And I need to edit my Christmas vlogs. I need to edit me being in Detroit. I have footage from there and stuff that I did that I got to edit together. So I'm just trying to find my groove, guys. I'm just trying to find my groove. Very, very difficult. I'm doing the best that I can and the best that Wheezy can do. So as always, thank you so much for your support. Please make sure that you are subscribed over on YouTube. If you are not, I am going to try to do a podcast once a week. It likely will not be on Fridays. It will most likely be on Tuesdays in the afternoon, or maybe around this time, 4 or 5 o'clock. Trying to release a few videos a week. Make sure you're following me on Instagram. That's where all of the clips will be going. As far as the Patreon goes, if you subscribe to the Patreon, I will be doing a watch along of every John Cena match where he wins a title and every John Cena match where he loses the title. That's my goal for January. I also want to watch every Royal Rumble. I know a lot of people do that. So that's why those are kind of more Patreon content things. And there's a couple random ones I want to throw on there just because people were talking about them. I want to watch Cody and Dustin from Double or Nothing in 2019. I kind of think that would be fun. And I also would take some suggestions for AEW matches that you would like me to watch. Those are also things that will be on the Patreon. But yeah, that's where we're at. That's my plan. I just wanted to let you know that I do have the plans. I am trying to do the thing. It's just life is life-and, you know? Well, I love you guys. Take care. I will see you. Well, it's Friday, so I'll see you in a little bit here for Friday Night SmackDown. Otherwise, see you next week. Bye.